There is a technique that costs $0 and produces a razor-sharp, hair-shaving edge on any dull steel blade in under 3 minutes. No expensive diamond stones, no guided sharpening systems, no trips to the outdoor retail store. A blade sharpening method so fundamental to human survival that archaeological evidence confirms humans have used natural stone to maintain cutting edges for over 2 million years. That the mountain men and frontiersmen of the 19th century relied upon as a core wilderness skill. That indigenous hunters and trackers across the globe refined into a practical art form through thousands of years of continuous application. And that the modern outdoor gear industry has replaced with $300 manufactured sharpening jigs, ensuring you never learn that the materials for an infinitely sharp knife are resting on the ground within 10 feet of every stream or trail you will ever hike. Zero cost. 3 minutes, any riverbed. Sharp enough to field dress game, feather a fire stick, carve a snare, or prepare a camp meal. The global knife accessory and sharpening industry generates hundreds of millions of dollars in annual revenue. The premium whetstone and guided sharpener market alone convinces outdoorsmen to part with massive sums of cash. Every heavy synthetic stone or complex angle guide you carry into the field is dead weight in your pack and stolen money from your wallet for a product that the earth you are walking on provides in unlimited quantity, perfectly functional, for free. A man who can put a razor edge on his blade using nothing but a river rock and a leather belt never works with a dangerously dull knife in any survival situation. Which is exactly why no gear company selling synthetic Japanese waterstones has any interest in teaching you how to look down and pick up the solution. This is the story of natural stone sharpening, the oldest tool maintenance technique in human history. The skill that butchered the game, carved the bows, and sustained every pre-industrial civilization on Earth. And the one critical survival skill that the modern outdoor industry made sure you would buy instead of learn. Welcome to Forbidden Camping. If true self-reliance matters to you, subscribe and hit the bell. This is where we open the vaults the gear industry paid to seal forever. Now, let me take you back to where this all begins. The timeline stretches back millions of years. At sites like the Olduvai Gorge, early humans and our ancestors realized that stone against stone creates a cutting edge. But jump forward to the Roman Empire, the Viking expansions, and the American frontier. These men carried high-carbon steel blades into harsh environments for months or years at a time. They did not carry synthetic aluminum oxide stones. They did not order replacement diamond plates. Historical accounts from the Lewis and Clark expedition and journals from 19th century trappers document the use of smooth river stones, specifically quartzite and dense sandstone, selected carefully from riverbeds to maintain their skinning and butchering knives. The technique did not require complex machinery. It required observation. Any piece of high carbon or stainless steel, when drawn at a consistent angle across a harder geological material, will shed microscopic particles. The edge is refined, the geometry is restored. This is not a patented engineering insight owned by a corporation. It is a physical property of metallurgy and geology that any person who has ever rubbed a dull blade against a smooth stone has discovered independently. And they did discover it independently. Everywhere humans carried blades. Indigenous communities across North America and early pioneers developed field-expedient sharpening into a highly refined practical skill using the specific geological materials available in their regional environments. In the river valleys of the Appalachians, smooth, water-worn novaculite and slate were prized. In the Rocky Mountains, dense, smooth, river-tumbled quartzite provided the perfect abrasive surface. A razor edge produced by a stone gathered from the mud, washed in the stream, and utilized by hand in minutes. The knowledge has been available in the historical record for centuries. Military survival instructors know it. Old-timers knew it. But no outdoor gear retailer has ever suggested you learn to read the ground instead of buying their premium sharpening kit. Let me show you exactly why a common river rock is as effective as a factory sharpener. The mechanics of sharpening rely on a principle in materials science called abrasive friction and edge geometry. When a steel blade is pushed across an abrasive surface, the harder material removes microscopic amounts of the softer material. Steel generally ranks between 5.5 and 6.5 on the Mohs hardness scale. Quartz, which makes up a massive percentage of common river rocks and sandstones, ranks at a solid 7 on the Mohs scale. Because the quartz is harder than the steel, it acts as a perfect natural file. Under consistent hand pressure, as you sweep the blade across the stone, the friction cuts a clean bevel into the steel. The edge gets thinner and finer until the two sides of the blade meet at a microscopic apex. The excess steel curls over, forming what metallurgists call a burr. Once that burr is established, you refine it, polish it, and remove it. This is the exact same physics used by every manufactured whetstone on the planet. The materials differ in uniformity. The physics is completely identical. Testing conducted by primitive skills experts shows that a dense, water-worn river stone, when lubricated with plain water, can act as the equivalent of a 600 to 800 grit sharpening stone. This grit rating is the absolute sweet spot for a working outdoor knife. It provides an aggressive, toothy, razor-sharp edge that slices through meat, rope, and wood far better than a polished, mirrored edge that slips under pressure. A natural rock does not match a synthetic diamond stone in perfect laboratory flatness. It does not need to. The vast majority of field cutting tasks, shelter construction, food prep, firecraft, trap making, require a functional biting edge. They require a sharpener that is available the exact second your blade goes dull. The earth is always available. A commercial sharpener is available only if you remember to pack it. The knife accessory and sharpening market generates hundreds of millions of dollars annually. Every $100 guided system or specialized ceramic rod sold depends on the consumer believing that a functional blade requires factory perfection. A survival skills instructor who teaches field sharpening on natural stone is teaching true self-sufficiency. A gear company that sells a heavy sharpening system is selling dependency. The commercial outdoor industry is built entirely on the second model. Every sponsored gear review, every wilderness packing list published by a retailer includes a manufactured sharpener as a mandatory item. A man who can restore a shaving sharp edge to his knife using any smooth rock in his environment in 3 minutes does not need to buy sharpeners, does not need to carry their dead weight, and does not need to panic when his blade hits a rock in the field. That man is not a sharpening customer. And a man who is not a customer is not commercially valuable to the industry that sells the product he no longer needs. The knowledge was never explicitly suppressed. It was simply starved of commercial promotion. And in a market driven by affiliate links and sponsored content, unpromoted knowledge is invisible knowledge. Here is the complete natural stone sharpening technique. You can practice this today with a dull kitchen knife and a rock you will find within 30 seconds of stepping into a creek bed. Finding your stone. The best natural sharpening stones are hard, dense, and perfectly smooth to the touch. Here are the characteristics to look for. Water-worn river rocks, tumbling in water for decades. Makes these stones incredibly smooth. Look for rocks that feel almost like glass but have a microscopic texture. Quartzite and dense sandstone, available in nearly every geographical region in North America. Flatness, you need a surface that is relatively flat, about the size of your palm or slightly larger. Preparing your stone. Wash the dirt off the stone. You must use a lubricant to float the microscopic steel shavings away so they don't clog the rock's pores. In the field, use stream water. Even saliva works in a dry environment. Keep the stone wet throughout the process. The field sharpening method. Step 1. Find your angle. Hold the knife by the handle. Lay the blade flat against your wet stone. Slowly tilt the spine of the knife up until you feel the cutting edge sit flat against the rock. For most outdoor knives, this is about 20 degrees. Lock your wrist. The angle must stay consistent. Step 2, the sweeping stroke. With moderate downward pressure, push the blade across the stone as if you are trying to slice a thin layer of rock off the top. Sweep from the base of the blade. The heel to the tip in one smooth motion. Step 3, count your strokes. Do 5 smooth strokes on one side of the blade. Then flip the knife over, find the exact same 20-degree angle, and do 5 smooth strokes on the opposite side, pulling toward you. Step 4. Feel for the burr. After several alternating sets, gently run your thumb perpendicular to the edge of the blade, never along the edge. You will feel a microscopic lip of metal catching your fingerprint. That is the burr. You have successfully apexed the edge. Step 5. Stropping. The secret finish. The rock does the heavy lifting, but the strop makes it a razor. Take off your leather belt or use the heavy denim of your jeans. Pull the blade backward, trailing the edge, not cutting into the fabric, along the leather 10 to 15 times per side. This snaps off the microscopic burr and polishes the edge to a hair shaving finish. Speed with practice. First attempt, 10 to 15 minutes to find the right angle and build the muscle memory. This is normal. After 5 practice sessions, 5 minutes, the wrist lock becomes automatic. After 20 sessions, 2 to 3 minutes. This is the speed that experienced frontiersmen and military survival trainees achieve. A man who practices this technique carries a skill that weighs nothing, costs nothing, and works anywhere there is earth and water for the rest of his life. 2 million years ago, a human being struck stone against stone to create the first cutting tool. That single physical truth, that stone cuts and refines, enabled every shelter, every hunt, and every form of wilderness survival that followed. It is not an exaggeration to say that blade maintenance is the foundational technology of human survival. The modern outdoorsman carries manufactured sharpening systems from the store into the woods, completely blind to the fact that he is walking over millions of superior, natural whetstones with every step he takes. The factory sharpener can break, get lost, or be left behind. The earth will not. Hundreds of millions of dollars in annual sharpening revenue depends on you believing that sharp steel must come from a factory. Depends on you packing heavy gear into your bag instead of packing the 3-minute skill that produces a razor edge from the nearest riverbed. The stones are resting right now, outside your door, in every stream, along every trail. The knowledge is here. Subscribe and share this video. Every share reaches a man who will walk lighter and more capable in the field because of it. Every subscription keeps this channel opening the vaults the gear industry thought were sealed forever. The next vault opens soon, and what is inside will change how you look at the damp, rotting wood at your campsite and the $0 fire starting method that outperforms every branded survival match on the market.